Hey guys, so before I begin, the usual disclaimers. Number one, there will be spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, for the love of God, or for the love of Bast, please stop the video here. You've been warned. Also, as the title of this video would imply, what I'm about to say are my first impressions of this movie. I just saw it yesterday morning. My first impressions might change by the time I do a formal review or a scripted review of this movie. Again, you've been warned. No reason to complain or compare that, what I say later, to this video, okay? Just first impressions. Alright, so if any of you are just looking for my quick thoughts on this movie, you just want the short, one sentence, 10 words or less review, my review of this movie, it's good, but it's sad, alright? Even though this is considered to be a fall blockbuster or a popcorn movie, it is a very emotionally draining movie. First things first, I have to eat a small slice of humble pie, as in an earlier video, I had said that I thought that the new Black Panther was going to be Killmonger. I'm sorry about Milo, the dog. He's right here and he wants attention. Anyway, I had said that I thought that the new Black Panther that was going to take T'Challa's place was Killmonger. Of course, as soon as I said that, on the very next Wakanda Forever trailer, we got a much better look at the new Black Panther, and not only could we tell that it was obviously a woman in the suit, but she had the exact same markings on her helmet as Shuri had on her face whenever she would go into battle in one of the movies. So yeah, it was obviously Shuri. But I was wrong, and I graciously accept my slice of humble pie. Now, I have a lot to say about this movie, but for the sake of brevity, I have condensed everything into two categories. What I thought didn't work about the movie and what I thought worked. Now, obviously, as I said, I think the movie is very good, in spite of its somber tone. Obviously, a lot of it worked. A lot of it was really well done, very well handled. But there were some things that I honestly feel didn't work, and it's painfully apparent that everything that didn't work had the exact same thing in common, which was that it was crap that was meant to set up future installments of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Things that are very apparent that Ryan Coogler was forced to include in the movie. The first one and most overt one being Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, played by Dominique Thorne. Now, full disclosure here, full transparency, I like the majority of the next generation characters from Marvel Comics. Kamala Khan, Miles Morales, Kate Bishop, but one of the very few next generation characters that I'm just not a fan of is Riri Williams, and honestly, I can't put my finger on it. She just doesn't appeal to me. And as most of you know, there's lots of Marvel Comics characters that I didn't really care for in the comics, but I really like in the movies. The movies changed my opinions about them, and I was hoping that this movie would change my opinion about Riri Williams. It did not. And I could go on and on about why this character I didn't think worked in the movie, but it all comes down to one thing. And my issue with her is the exact same issue that I had with Black Widow in Iron Man 2, that she's tacked on. You could edit her out of the movie and the movie would still be exactly the same. And it's just blatantly apparent that the only reason that she's there is to set up her own show for Disney Plus later. Which I will definitely check out, and I hope that that show makes me like her more, but right now, again, just like Black Widow for me in Phase 1, she's in the penalty box, and I hope that the next time that she appears in the MCU, my opinion about her will change. The other thing that I felt was exactly the same as the inclusion of Riri Williams was the whole subplot with Okoye, Anika, and the Midnight Angels. Again, all of that was in there to set up this upcoming Marvel Disney Plus Okoye Wakanda show that's coming up. And again, it was very painful that that was there. Painfully apparent that that was there for that reason. Especially the character of Anika. She shows up at the beginning of the movie with her two little lightsabers. She gets lines, she gets dialogue for no good reason, and then she's not really that important for the rest of the movie. And the part that really stood out like a sore thumb, like we're just setting this up for later, nothing that's going to happen in this movie but for later, was when the queen dies and Shuri's trying to figure out a solution to this upcoming dilemma that they have with the people of Talokan, and this woman just walks into her lab to return the lightsabers, and I'm like, this is not important right now. What are you doing here? But yeah, all of that felt that way. And the next one, and my last and final complaint, and the last and final thing that I felt was seriously tacked on, but I still enjoyed, was the inclusion of Val, the Contessa Valentina Francesca de la Fontaine, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Absolutely delightful, awesome character. Cool revelation that she is the ex-wife of Everett Ross. Cool revelation that she is the current director of the CIA. Now we know why what she is recruiting the Thunderbolts for what agency. Cool, but just unnecessary. Just another tacked on character to set up something that's going to pay off in another installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But it is what it is, and that's it. Those are my complaints about this movie. The rest of this video will be nothing but praise. Let's move on to the good stuff. So earlier this year, I officially, after a long time, officially released my honest review of Black Panther, and in it, I talked about how the theme of the movie was the sins of the father, and T'Challa's arc was that of, yeah, it's honoring the Wakandan traditions, but accepting modern and new ways to look at things and rule this country. So in this movie, Shuri's arc is pretty much the same, but backwards. She already accepts the modern way of doing things, the technological way of doing things, but what she has a problem with is accepting the traditions. And while a lot of the traditions don't work and are followed blindly, like the tradition, in Warrior Falls, which led Killmonger to take over the country and start a civil war, some of them don't work. Some of them have existed for hundreds of years for good reasons and are worth examining, are worth her continue to practice them and continue to observe them. So same exact journey, same exact character arc of T'Challa, but again reversed. She already embraced the new, but she needs to learn to accept the old as well. It's only with a balance of the two that one can truly be a great ruler. But of course, the overall theme of the movie is moving on. The world lost one of its greatest actors. Fandom lost one of its greatest heroes. This affected all of us. And now these actors who were his friends are being asked to move on without him. It was bold. It was bold for them to make this movie without its titular character. I've jokingly said before, when talking about this current phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which apparently this movie is now the final one in Phase 4, that while a lot of people connected to the MCU have dubbed this to be the multiverse saga, I have jokingly said that in actuality it is the wellness saga, and how a lot of characters are dealing with the repercussions of what they've done in the past installments, and they're figuring out who they are after they've experienced the trauma that they have. And no installment of the MCU symbolizes this more than this movie. All of these characters have lost the one person that binded them, the one person that brought them together. And now they have to figure out who they are and how they move on without him. And man, as I said at the beginning of this video, it is a sad, drab, harsh story arc and theme, but it's handled so well and so beautifully. And Shuri's perspective, unlike everybody else who has summoned the fortitude to find a way, find something to keep them going and keep them moving forward, Shuri is just driven by rage, by this desire for revenge, because she feels that as the most intelligent person in Wakanda, she was the one person who was equipped to save T'Challa's life, and she couldn't do it. And as the movie progresses, she comes to realize that while she couldn't save her brother's life, she can save his legacy. That the Black Panther is, as I've stated many times in many videos, Black Panther's not a man. Black Panther is a title, it's a symbol, it's something that gives people faith. I wasn't sure whether Letitia Wright had the ability to be a leading character. I was super concerned about that, and I was concerned about that while watching the movie, while watching about 75% of this movie, until we get to the climax of the movie when she accepts the title of Black Panther. And then from that moment on, that woman was owning the room, which is what I always say that a leading actor needs. That no matter what's happening in a scene, the moment that character enters the room, they should take over. They should be the main focus. They should gain control of that scene. And that's exactly what she did. Like, she fell out of that ship just like T'Challa, landed in her Panther suit, the mask came off, and she owned that scene with a lot of actors that were older than her and more experienced than her. And that was really impressive. And from that moment on, I had no doubt that she could be the lead of this series, that she was 100% the right choice to be the Black Panther and to lead this franchise into the future. No doubt about it. But it took most of the movie for to convince me, and but appropriately enough, it was the right moment. The right moment where I needed to feel that way in the movie when it happened. All right, so let's talk about my favorite part of the movie, and this should be ironic to everybody. I already said that the Marvel movies have made me like a lot of characters that I didn't like in the comics. The number one character that I didn't like from the comics that I love in the movies is Ant-Man. Number two, with a bullet, like right behind Ant-Man, is Namor. I absolutely hate Namor in the comics. I still do. In fact, one of my earliest catchphrases as the Blockbuster Buster was, haha, suck it, Namor. Any opportunity to make fun of that character and bring praise to Aquaman, who I absolutely freaking love Aquaman. So, to me, Namor is just like the prototype, the forgotten prototype for Aquaman, because Namor came first. But the moment that I heard that they were reworking or improving upon Namor for this movie, giving him a more interesting and racially diverse background, I instantly became fascinated with the character, and I couldn't wait to see what Tenoch Huerta was going to do with the character. So, one of the main themes of Black Panther in general, from the comics and through the movies, is the theory or belief of Afrofuturism. What is Afrofuturism? Quite simply, the idea that because Africa is the cradle of civilization and is the one part in the world that has had human beings living on it the longest, that if the African cultures hadn't been meddled with by colonizers or be conquered by colonizers, if they would have been allowed to continue to progress on their own, that those cultures would be the most advanced cultures on the planet, like Wakanda. So, with that established, this movie, Wakanda Forever, also looks at the concept or theory of parallel thinking, which is when two cultures from opposite sides of the planet somehow that have no way of communicating or interacting with one another still somehow, some way have a lot of the same ideas and advancements as each other. So this movie, Wakanda discovers that there's another hyper super advanced culture on the other side of the planet that is based out of Mesoamerica or Central America. And it also plays on the arrogance that, you know, advanced species, you know, advanced beings like humans believe that they're the only ones. The Wakandans would believe, oh, we're the only ones that are this advanced and have, or this powerful and have vibranium. And then, holy shit, I love that scene where they're discussing that. There's a whole other culture that has vibranium. And immediately Okoye says, oh man, all the stories that I heard, all the legends that I heard when I was a kid are wrong. And in that scene, Shuri also theorizes that when the meteor landed on Africa that became the vibranium mound, that meteor could have split. And part of that meteor could have landed somewhere else. Coincidentally, Central America is right there in the next to the Yucatan Peninsula, where paleontologists theorize the meteor that killed the dinosaurs crash landed. So that fits in with the whole theory that meteor could have been the one that had the vibranium on it and gave the people of Talokan their power in this movie. So again, these are all real existing theories, and they were just brilliantly woven together to create this story. In the comics, Namor is from, just like Aquaman, he is from Atlantis. He is the king of the sea, and he has mythical Roman abilities and mythology connected to him. And of course, Aquaman just so happens to be Warner Brothers' highest grossing DC movie, believe it or not, DCEU movie. So everybody has seen that freaking movie, so they had to do something to make Namor different, and they found it, and it's brilliant, and it fits beautifully. Also, while we're on the subject, there's been, while promoting this movie, a lot of journalists have been a little fast and loose with the facts about Namor, especially a lot of people claiming that he was the first Marvel character. He was not. The first Marvel character was the Human Torch. That came out exact same year, just a little bit earlier than Namor. And how do I know that the Human Torch came first before Namor? Easy, because Bill Everett, the creator of Namor, literally created Namor to be the opposite of the Human Torch, who was one of the most popular characters, comic book characters, that year. For example, the Human Torch, even though it has fire powers, and he is noble, and in spite of the fact that he is an android, he is very faithful to humanity. Namor, the opposite. He has water powers. He is an anti-hero. He is intolerant of humanity, and he is in no way faithful to humanity. And that was done on purpose. He wanted a character that was the complete opposite of what was at the time one of the most popular characters in comics. So there you go. As far as Tenoch Huerta's performance in this movie, just masterful. In the comics, Namor is this intolerant, pretentious, super racist character. He has absolutely no patience with people from the surface world. In this movie, while Namor does not like the surface world people, he is very chill about it. He doesn't feel the need to attack them all the time. Just, he does what needs to be done to keep his kingdom of Talokan a secret. The end. But he is 100% super chill, super laid back. He is the most powerful being in his society. He's never been challenged. So he has no reason to worry. And I love that Tenoch Huerta played him that way. It was one of my favorite scenes in the movies when he first meets Queen Ramonda and Shuri. And he just walked into Wakanda, one of the most secure places on the globe, and he just walks up like looking around. It's like, man, this place is awesome. And Queen Ramonda and Shuri have their spears out, and they're like, hey, you better back up, buddy. Like you better identify yourself. Like, who are you? And he goes, oh, well, you're my people. They call me Kuklu Khan, but all surface people call me Namor, which is I was waiting for like a zoom into an extreme close-up when he said that. Super sexy. I was half expecting Squidward from SpongeBob to pop up and say, oh no, he's hot. Super smooth. Just a smooth, just charismatic performance. You instantly fall in love with the character, which is ironic because his name means no love. Which I love, that the play on words on his name. Easily my favorite character in the movie. Easily one of the best antagonists in the whole MCU. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say that for the time being, the Black Panther franchise has the best antagonist. Just between him and Killmonger, holy shit, what great characters. And also the difficulty of creating this anti-hero and making him likable enough, or making it acceptable for him to go on and have his own franchise, when in the comics Namor is a guy who will kill anyone and everyone, you know, if they get in his way. But they did it. They made this character very much worthy of having his own show and or movie series, preferably movie series, in this franchise. They gave him his own distinct background, his own distinct corner of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they made him appealing enough to take on that lead character role. So, congratulations to everyone. They've created another potential Marvel franchise. In fact, I will be shocked if he doesn't get his own movies or Disney Plus series. Anyway, so last but not least, the big reveal, the big twist at the end of the movie during the mid-credit scene was that the reason that Nakia was missing throughout the Infinity War and Endgame was because she was pregnant with T'Challa's son. And so she went off on her own and raised that child in secret, whose Wakandan name is also T'Challa. Again, this connects with what I've been saying over and over again, that yes, it's horrible, it's so sad that Chadwick Boseman died, but Black Panther doesn't die with T'Challa. Black Panther is a title. It's a symbol of hope, okay? It goes on when one person who holds that mantle ends their time, another person continues. In fact, it's part of the Wakandan faith that death is not the end. It's just a continuation of a cycle. So, yes, we lost Black Panther. We lost T'Challa. But this is not the end of the Black Panther. The Black Panther will continue with Shuri and one day with T'Challa the Second. And just, oh my God, just a tear-jerking but beautiful, beautiful way to end the movie. And I can't wait to see what they do next with this franchise and how they continue this legacy, because the world desperately needs the Black Panther. So those are my thoughts about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Thank you, as per usual, for humoring me and my crazy fanboy thoughts. As per usual, I encourage you to voice your opinion in the comment section below, but please be civil with one another. There's no reason to fight. We're all on the same team. I firmly believe that you can voice your geeky opinions about make-believe characters and make-believe stories without all the while still respecting one another. All right, so if you wish to support me, if you wish to get more of my crazy, wacky fanboy thoughts on movies and TV shows, you can get a hell of a lot more of that over on my Patreon page, which is patreon.com/erod. All you have to do to gain access to all of my bonus videos is pledge $1. That's it. You pledge $1 and you get bonus videos like my e-rant on She-Hulk. And in return, you're helping me to continue producing content on my YouTube page as the Blockbuster Buster, as well as other videos that I do. I don't know. You can't beat that with a wooden stick. I continue to be the Blockbuster Buster. You get a bunch of bonus videos you can't watch on YouTube. As per usual, thank you so much for your ongoing support. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing in general, just follow me on Twitter at erodbuster1. And as I always say, thank you so much for your ongoing support, because the fact of the matter is I couldn't do what I do without you.